Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be talking about inequalities, multi-step inequalities, where we have to do 2 or more steps to find the answer. And we have to remember to apply the rules of inequalities when determining the solution. So let's look at this first one here. 10x plus 18 less than negative 2. Let's rewrite it here. In order to get x by itself, the first thing I'm going to do is take away 18 from both sides of the inequality. We do treat inequalities like equations, where if you got to keep it balanced, if you do something to one side, you have to do something the same thing to the other. If we have a negative 2 and a negative 18, we have a negative 20. Think of it as 2 negatives added together. Still have 10x here. And then to get x by itself, we just need to divide both sides by 10. X less than negative 2, because negative 20 divided by 10 is a negative 2. Now there are rules when multiplying or dividing an inequality by a negative, but notice we divided by a positive, so the inequality stays put. But hopefully we'll see that here on the next example. We have fractions. Let me rewrite here so we can observe the fractions a little bit better. A negative 4/3 x added to 1/6 less than 7/9. Alright, and then what we can do here, since we have so many fractions, a little trick to clear out fractions is to multiply everything by the LCD, lowest common denominator of all the fractions. And we have a 3, a 6, and a 9. And we think, okay, well, what is a number that is divisible by 3, 6, and 9? And the number that comes to mind, I believe, is 18. So here's what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to multiply all the numerators by 18. And then notice what happens. If I just put 18, because remember the rules of equations and inequalities, what you do to one side, you must do to the other. If everything gets multiplied by 18 on one side, everything has to be multiplied by 18 on the other side. Watch what happens with the canceling out here. Notice on the first term here, I have a 18 and a 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Let's go to the second term. 18 over 6, 18 divided by 6 is 3. And the last term here on to the right of the inequality symbol, 18 divided by 9 is 2. So what happens is, what I wrote in green, that can get multiplied to the numerator. 6 times negative 4, negative 24x. And what happens on the second term, I'm just left with a 3. And then on the last term here, 2 times 7, 14. So that is a way to clear the fractions. If you multiply all the numerators of all fractions by the lowest common denominator, you can actually clear out the fractions. And notice we just have nice whole numbers here to deal with. Alright, let's go about solving this. First thing we're going to do is take away 3 from both sides. 14 minus 3 is 11. We're still left with negative 24x. I'm now going to divide both sides by a negative 24, as you can see here. The rules of inequalities: when you multiply or divide by a negative, the inequality symbol has to switch. Notice the switching that happens here. Went from a less than to a greater than. And then the fraction negative 11 over 24, doesn't reduce, there's nothing to change. We're just going to leave it negative 11 over 24. Final solution here, x is greater than negative 11 over 24. Alright, let's look at one more. This time we're dealing with decimals. Let's get it rewritten here. Negative 4.2y plus 2.1 greater than negative 2.52. Step 1, we're going to get rid of the 2.1 by subtracting it to both sides. And if I have negative 2.52 minus a 2.1, left with negative 4.62. Still have the inequality symbol, still have negative 4.2y. One more step, get rid of the negative 4.2 by dividing it on both sides. Now notice it's a negative 4.2. And I almost forgot to switch. Since I divided by a negative, that greater than symbol needs to change to a less than symbol. And then the calculator, 4.62, I'm just going to use a calculator to divide. 4.62 divided by 4.2, looks like we're left with a positive 1.1. Now notice it's positive because of these symbols. I got a negative and a negative over a negative. Y is less than 1.1. Y is less than 1.1. There you go. And then we have 3 examples. We had, just to review here, we had whole numbers, we had fractions, and we had decimals. Thank you for watching.